So Donald Trump is back on the mail-in ballots argument. Again, this is. I mean, I think at one point it was Plan C for them. I think Plan A was to try and beat Joe Biden by saying that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were involved in some type of massive scheme with Burisma. That seemed to have fallen apart. In part, not in part, probably very much a function of impeachment. In fact, I think it shows the power of impeachment had the Democrats been a little bit broader in their approach to this. We would have seen, I think, a very different dynamic than we've seen since then. And of course, Plan B, and I think, Plan F was probably try and win more votes because it was so out of reach, I think, for Donald Trump. But we'll see. But Plan B is to simply say that the vote tallies that we're seeing are fraudulent. And this one's been in the works for a long time. We will talk in the second hour about the Lincoln Project a little bit. They're in the news. But I want to remind everybody, when Donald Trump was talking about how the results from California were very dubious, which led to his 3 million vote deficit in the popular vote, it was Paul Ryan who was also stoking those flames, who was out there saying it was very suspicious that Florida was bringing in these mail-in ballots. And that was 4 years ago. I mean, so this has been a long-term project. I mean, the Republicans have been doing this for decades, of course. But I just want to make it clear that it's not just Donald Trump, that the Republican Party does this part and parcel. And those never Trumpers, they were doing that 4 or 5 years ago as well. So, but here's Donald Trump Saturday at the White House. He spoke for less time than was anticipated, and he did it from his balcony. This, of course, is not a campaign event because that would be illegal. But here he is just talking about generally mail-in ballots.
I think so. And you're going to see that. And you see how many crooked ballots are being found and turned back in and fraudulent? Just what I said. Then they'll say, he doesn't believe in freedom. I totally believe in freedom. That's called freedom. What we're doing is freedom. Tremendous problems with the ballots. 50,000 in Ohio, 25,000. You have to see it. I mean, every day there's a story about ballots. Some thrown out, they happen to have the name Trump. Military ballots were thrown out with the name Trump on them, okay? But I think we're going to swamp them by so much. Hopefully it's not going to matter. And we have law enforcement watching. We have law enforcement watching all those ballots. They're being found for a reason. Left-wing politicians like Kamala Harris, who really did not do very well the other night. By the way, did our vice president do a good job, Candace? That was.
He is addressing Candace Owens there. She is the head of the Blexit movement, and where black people are to not vote for Joe Biden, but rather to vote for Donald Trump, I guess. What's interesting about what he says there, he just throws out these numbers, 50,000 in Ohio, and then pivots immediately to the ballots that were found with Trump's name on it. And what he was referring to there were the 6 ballots that were found out of 9 in a Pennsylvania office. Not 6,000, 6 ballots. So he just seamlessly pivots. Like, they found 50,000. Did you hear a bunch of those were Trump ballot? No, that's not the same ballots that he's talking about. And he is, I don't know what the threat is there, implicit in the idea that there's police officers or law enforcement watching, but that's what we have. So there's Donald Trump's Plan B. He is out there hoping that he can convince his supporters that and I should say that those 50,000 ballots, just being reminded here, were all in Franklin County, which is a large blue county. And these were absentee ballots that were put out with wrong names or whatnot. And theoretically, there have to be more ballots sent to them. And hopefully that can be made up, but we will see.